boogeyman is real, and you found him.
Hey everyone, welcome to Gargoyle Graphics. This is your Sunday night screams, where we curse the sun so we can howl at the moon. This is going to be our weekly wrap-up of everything that happened in horror history. We may take a few detours along the way, but I think we got a pretty good show for you. We've got a real mixed bag, including some horror comedy, some horror classics, and our picks of the week, which is movies or actors that we arbitrarily put a spotlight on. So let's get into it. Starting off with some trivia. What Hammer horror classic began production on January 19th, 1970? Answer will be revealed later in the show. Passing away on January 19th, 2017, Miguel Ferrer, famous for his role in RoboCop. On Comics Corner from Todd McFarlane via Image Comics, King Spawn, number 6, sporting 2 variant covers. Born January 19th, 1809, Edgar Allan Poe, famous for his short stories and poems including The Raven, The Telltale Heart, The Pit and the Pendulum, and The Mask of the Red Death. Born January 17th, 1867, Carl Laemmle, original founder of Universal Studios and most remembered for his productions of the 1923 Hunchback of Notre Dame and the 1925 Phantom of the Opera, both of which starred Lon Chaney Sr. Born January 22nd, 1893, Conrad Veidt, famous for his role in The Man Who Laughs, which later served as inspiration for the creation of the Batman arch-nemesis, the Joker. Born January 21st, 1896, J. Carrol Naish, famous character actor, and his final film role was in the movie Dracula vs. Frankenstein in 1971. Born January 20th, 1900, Colin Clive, famous for his role as Henry Frankenstein in Universal's Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein.
It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. Oh, in the name of God. Now I know what it feels like to be God.
Born January 17th, 1922, the American icon Betty White, famous for her role in the comedy sitcom Golden Girls, and I'll always remember her in the very memeable movie Lake Placid.
Come and get it!
Born January 17th, 1931, James Earl Jones, probably most famous for his voice work as Darth Vader in the original Star Wars, but also with roles in Exorcist II, The Heretic, Blood Tide, and Grim Prairie Tales. Born January 22nd, 1932, Piper Laurie, famous for her role in the Carrie movies. Born January 16th, 1938, Michael Pataki. Born January 22nd, 1940, the late great John Hurt, famous for his role in the original Ridley Scott Alien and Hellboy. Born January 17, 1942, Nancy Parsons, famous for her role in Motel Hell. Born January 16, 1956, Anders Hove, famous for his role in the Subspecies movies. Born January 21st, 1956, Gina Davis, famous for her role in the Beetlejuice movie. Born January 21st, 1958, Michael Wincott, famous for his role in the Crow movie opposite Brandon Lee and in Alien 4 Resurrection.
This is already boring the shit out of me. Kill him! That had to hurt.
Born January 22nd, 1959, the lovely Linda Blair, famous for her role in the Exorcist movies. Born January 21st, 1960, Barbie Wilde, famous for her role in Hellraiser 2. Born January 1961, William Ragsdale, famous for his role in the Fright Night movie. Born January 20th, 1966, Rainn Wilson, famous for his role in House of a Thousand Corpses and Cooties. Born January 17th, 1969, Naveen Andrews, famous for his role in the Robert Rodriguez Grindhouse movie Planet Terror. Born January 17th, 1977, Lee Whannell, famous for his role in the Saw movie, but he was also a writer of that movie. Not to mention the Insidious movies as well.
What are you doing?
Born January 20th, 1981, Crystal Lowe, famous for her role in Wrong Turn 2, Black Christmas, Final Destination 3. So back to our trivia. What Hammer horror classic began production on January 19th, 1970? Answer is The Vampire Lovers, featuring Ingrid Pitt and Peter Cushing. Airing January 18th, 1952, Tales of Tomorrow, Frankenstein. Airing January 16th, 1973, The Night Strangler. Opening January 20th, 1936, The Invisible Ray, featuring Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. Opening January 22nd, 1964, The Comedy of Terrors, featuring Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, and Boris Karloff, as well as Basil Rathbone. Releasing January 20th, 1966, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. Releasing January 14th, 1970, The Dunwich Horror. Releasing January 17th, 1971, Lust for a Vampire. Releasing January 16th, 1976, Snuff. Releasing January 22nd, 1982, A Stranger is Watching. Pervert. Releasing January 21st, 1983, The House on Sorority Row. Releasing January 18th, 1985, Ghoulies, They'll Get You in the End. Releasing January 17th, 1986, Troll. Releasing January 20th, 1989, The Terror Within. Releasing January 19th, 1990, Brain Dead. Releasing January 19th, 1990, Tremor, starring Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward. Releasing January 22nd, 1992, There's Nothing Out There. Releasing January 19th, 1996, from Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, From Dusk Till Dawn. Releasing January 20th, 1998, The Prophecy 2, featuring Christopher Walken and Jennifer Beals. Releasing January 23rd, 1998, Phantoms. Releasing January 15th, 1999, Virus, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, William Baldwin, and Donald Sutherland. Releasing January 18th, 2008, Teeth. Releasing January 22nd, 2010, Legion. Releasing January 20th, 2012, Underworld Awakening, starring Kate Beckinsale. Releasing January 17, 2014, Devil's Due. Releasing January 22nd, 2016, The Boy. And our Screen Queen of the Week goes to Tippi Hedren, born January 19th, 1930, famous for her role in the Alfred Hitchcock classic, The Birds. Our Kill of the Week goes to High Tension, releasing January 17th, 2004. Here's a clip. And our pick of the week goes to A Ghost Story, released January 22nd, 2017, featuring Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. And this is going to be my spoiler-filled review, so if you're interested in watching this, now would be the perfect time to tune out. And here we go. So I didn't know anything going into this movie. I didn't watch a single review. I didn't watch a trailer. I was expecting something more along the lines of a Paranormal Activity, and frankly, it started out that way. Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara play a married couple that are just moving into this house, and they go to bed one night and they're cuddling and they drift off to sleep, and then there's this loud bang on the piano keys, and Casey gets up and runs out to see what's going on, and there's nothing out there. And this happens at the very beginning of the film, and you're left, yeah, this is going to be like a haunting ghost story, hence the title. But the next morning, the camera pans over across the house. It's this hazy morning look, and the haze is caused by smoke, and there's Casey Affleck, and he is in a car wreck. And it turns out that he dies in this car wreck, and the next scene after that is Rooney Mara at the coroner's office identifying his body. And once she identifies it, she turns and leaves, and the coroner pulls the sheet back over Casey Affleck. And after a few minutes more, you see the sheet rise up, and there's Casey Affleck in his ghost form with a bed sheet over him. Not unlike the Peanuts gang in The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. And the ghost of Casey Affleck, bedsheet and all, wander through the hospital, and he goes down this long hallway where there's the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel, and Casey decides to bypass the light at the end of the tunnel and keep walking, eventually finding his way back to the house. And this is where the story takes the odd turn. Casey Affleck just sort of sits around watching his wife grieve his death, basically, and she goes through all these different stages. At one point, she eats like this entire like casserole to the point where she pukes, which was awesome. And there's another scene where the ghost of Casey Affleck gets up and walks to the window and notices that there is a ghost living in the house next door. And they have this conversation, but they have it telepathically. Not a word is spoken. You have to read it in the subtitles. But the ghost next door says he's waiting for someone, and Casey Affleck says, who? And the ghost next door said, I don't remember, and walks off. And that's kind of the tone of this movie. There's a lot of waiting for stuff to happen. Casey Affleck lingers in that house to the point where he watches his wife basically grieve for him and then gets over him. And she brings home a date, to which Casey Affleck gets mad and smashes a picture. And so you're kind of seeing like a haunted house movie from the perspective of the ghost. Instead of seeing the picture frame just fly off the mantle, you see Casey Affleck pick it up and throw it off the mantle. But eventually, Rooney Mara, Casey Affleck's wife, gets over him and begins the process of cleaning up the house to sell it. Her last day there, she writes this note, folds it up, and puts it in this crack in the wall and then paints over it. And that's sort of the MacGuffin of the movie of what is this note. Anyway, so a new family moves into the house. The ghost of Casey Affleck gets mad and scares them off. Again, seeing the haunted house from the perspective of the ghost, he ends up throwing dishes around, but the little kid seems to have like a sense of the ghost. So sporadically, the ghost of Casey Affleck returns to the wall, picking at it, trying to retrieve this note. Different owners come and go from the house, and then presumably he scares them all off to the point where the house doesn't sell anymore, and the county comes in and tears down both his house and the neighbor's house, leaving both him and the neighbor ghost standing outside their respective homes, to which the neighbor ghost says, I guess they're not coming back, and he deflates like Obi-Wan did when Darth Vader struck him down, leaving the ghost of Casey Affleck standing on the rubble of his home, and he stays there as if he's locked into that one location, to the point where an entire high-rise is built on the location of his former home. And not just a high-rise, but this full neon city skyline of skyscrapers, and the ghost of Casey Affleck wanders the halls of these buildings and all the way up to the rooftop where he plunges off, and this is where it gets really weird, and he does this interdimensional time travel, and he lands on this open prairie, presumably where his house once stood, but he has time traveled, and now it's the settler and his family are staking out the house and doesn't pay attention, but then comes back, and Casey Affleck sort of turns, and the family of settlers has been slaughtered by Indians. Anyways, the movie kind of goes into a fast forward, and Casey Affleck is once again standing outside the front of his former home, and he walks back inside, and then there's this overlapping time period now where the ghost of Casey Affleck is in the house with the alive Casey Affleck, which is kind of where the beginning of the movie started, when Casey Affleck heard that banging on the piano keys. Well, it was his own ghost. And the time-traveling Casey Affleck ghost resumes his post at the wall, picking at it, trying to get this note, to which he finally does. And upon reading it, he does the Obi-Wan deflating, and you never get to see what the note says. So my review of the movie is that it is a odd duck. It is very slow. So if you don't have the patience for that type of movie, maybe this isn't the movie for you. The movie's like an hour and 45 minutes long, and I would say only 20 to 30 minutes of it is actual dialogue. The rest of it plays off like a silent movie with a somber soundtrack to it. And that's how I would describe the movie. It's not a scary movie. It's more somber, and it's shot in an odd 8mm format for whatever reason. But even given that it went against what I was thinking as far as being a paranormal activity type of movie, I still kind of liked it. Again, it's slow, not a lot of talking, but it kind of makes you think what happens after death. A ghost story. Check it out. It's streaming now, I believe, on Netflix. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for this week's Sunday Night Screams. I want to thank you all for hanging in there till the end. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.
What do you think of this? You like it?